Some buildings get condemned because they're unsafe. This one, it was sealed shut because something inside didn't want to be found. Welcome to the Shadow Hour. Tonight's tale comes from a page torn from a forgotten journal, left behind by someone who shouldn't have made it out alive. He was just an explorer, a thrill seeker, but some places aren't meant to be found. And once you're inside, they don't let you leave. Let me read you what he wrote. My name doesn't matter. If you're hearing this, just stay away from 417 Larchmont Avenue. It's not on any official city map, but the building's real. Locals call it Donovan Hall, condemned since 1996. I found it through an old Urban Explorer forum. The coordinates came with a warning: do not go alone. Of course, I did anyway. It looked like a standard abandoned site. Chain link fence, half fallen. No trespassing signs rusted to dust. I climbed through a busted window just before sunset. The air inside was thick, like walking into a room that hadn't exhaled in decades. Dust swirled in my headlamp like ash. The silence, total. No rats, no dripping pipes. Just nothing. Most rooms were trashed. Collapsed ceilings, moldy filing cabinets, yellowed Polaroids on the floor. But in one hallway, I found dozens of shoes, men's, women's, even kids, all stacked in rows, clean. None of it felt right. Then I saw the footprints. They were leading deeper inside. There was a door at the bottom of a stairwell, steel, reinforced. It didn't match the rest of the building. Too new. Scratched into it were 6 words: only open when they say so. I reached for the handle, but something cold crawled over me like fingers brushing the back of my neck. I stepped back. That was mistake number 1. I caught movement down the hall. A figure, pale, bald, just standing there. When I shined my light, he was gone. I called out. Nothing. Then I heard footsteps behind me. I spun around, but nothing was there. But my camera? It caught something my eyes didn't. 5 people, just standing in the dark, watching me. I decided to get out. I jogged back to the window I came through. But it was sealed. Somehow there were metal bars welded into the frame now. Same with every door. Someone, or something, had locked me in. I ended up in what looked like an old rec room, but the floor, it had a massive black circle painted across it. In the center were bones, arranged in a spiral. Some were tiny. On the far wall, written in charcoal, "You belong to us." I turned to leave, and there they were, standing shoulder to shoulder, blocking the exit. I ran, took random turns, but the building didn't match my map anymore. Hallways that didn't exist before were suddenly there. Doors opened into closets that turned into tunnels. It felt like the building was watching, like it was guiding me somewhere. Eventually, I ended up back at the steel door, the one I shouldn't have touched. Now it was wide open. It was pitch black inside, and a freezing air was coming out of the room. And the people from before, they were behind me now, moving in total silence. So with no other choice, panicked and scared, I stepped through the door. It led into a tunnel. The walls were cracked, dripping with some kind of dark fluid. And etched along the concrete were fingernail scratches. Hundreds, maybe thousands. In the distance, I heard humming, low and steady, like a broken choir warming up. Even though I was terrified, I kept walking. I didn't know why. I just had to. The tunnel opened into a massive room lit up by candles that were scattered around. At least 30 people stood in a circle, chanting around a basin filled with something pulsing. They didn't turn when I entered. Not at first, but then all at once they said, "We see you." I was so scared I just started running again. I went down another tunnel and found a collapsed furnace. I shoved it aside and squeezed into a crack in the wall. It was tight, very tight. Like one of those caving videos you see, and the explorer is squished between the ceiling and ground. I crawled as fast as I could for what seemed like hours. My knees and hands were bloody from crawling so long. Finally, I found a rusted hatch. I struggled to open it, but eventually I was able to kick it open. On the other side was moonlight and cold air. I was outside. I got up and ran as far as I could. I didn't stop until I felt safe. When I got home, I just sat at my kitchen table trying to figure out what I just experienced. It didn't feel real, like a surreal nightmare. something out of a horror movie. I eventually dozed off. Curiosity always gets the best of me. I guess I didn't learn. 3 days later, I went back with a friend. We drove out to Larchmont Avenue, but the lot was empty. The building was gone, just gravel. The city says Donovan Hall never existed. No permits, no demolition, nothing. But people remember it, even the city workers that can't find the records for it. Even though I wanted answers, there was nothing I could do, so I just went on with life. A few months passed, and then one day I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photograph of me standing in that ritual room, and a note that said, "You left too early. It's still waiting." Some places aren't abandoned. They're just waiting for the right soul to walk through the door. Thanks for joining me for the Shadow Hour.